Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGen Ed. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at charts, like the chart behind me, which is of Celsius Holdings, ticker symbol CELH. I was just drawing some lines on that right before starting this, after posting the Tilray video that I just put out, going over some of the unusual whales data. And so, yeah, this is a kind of odd Tuesday night ticker request live. I didn't do Sundays. I was just feeling a little bit tired and burnt out, whatnot. So I thought I would do this today since I'm not working the next couple days. And yeah, so I'm happy to do this. And also, I have to say, a big reason why I am doing this is because of Nameless, who is in the chat, who sent me a comment, I guess, on last week's ticker request live, wondering where I was at on Sunday. So I apologize about that. I did post to the channel's community page that I was going to skip it, but because of your comment, Nameless, I am here tonight. So, happy to go over any charts that you would like. I'm just going to try to limit one ticker per request. Just so if there are others that join, I'm able to go over the charts that they like. And I feel like there were some other kind of ground rules or something, guidelines for this, but I think I've forgotten them. Oh, yeah, I guess this is kind of like outside of the stream. So I had recently posted a couple polls to the channel to take some, suggestions for what tickers I could follow up on in some videos. But I find that, just because I'm working, normal full-time job, as we all are, and so don't have much time to do the channel, but then also with summer winding down, winter, around the corner, I got a bunch of projects outside that I got to finish. And so I don't really have too much time for the channel. And so what I think I'm going to do is, rather than do more polls, at least for the time being, I'm just going to try to go over the charts that I get really excited about in the videos. And some of those might be repetitions, like, with the Tilray, just kind of following up on that trade. With maybe over the span of a couple weeks. I wouldn't want to get into them for longer than that, and then just doing requests during ticker requests live, because I just can't keep up. I wish I could. If this was my full-time thing, I'd be able to, but it is what it is. No, I was not hanging out with anybody on Sunday. I was just doing work outside, and I was tired and had to go to work the next day, and needed to go to the grocery store, and I was just like, I'm just gonna chill. I'm just gonna relax. And so that's what I did. Not with anybody though, unfortunately. I wish. But yeah, Nameless, if there's one that you'd like me to go over, I feel like I saw something on Twilio recently, which I believe you hold, or you've requested it before. I think that was going up a bunch. And I feel like another common one for you is Fastly. So yeah, be happy to go over those if you like. So just let me know if you got a request. But in the meantime, I could just go over the Celsius chart. And yeah, I'm just gonna close this thing. That's a little pop-up. So yeah, looking at the Celsius chart, this has been put on my radar, I believe, just from Gareth Soloway talking about it. And I wasn't really paying too much attention to it. And then also I saw Mr. Chart Norris on X post about it. His analysis is not what I would do. I do have it up on the chart. And so I can go over that real quick, and then I'll go over my bigger picture view, which I think also relates to where Gareth Soloway's coming from it, who, I've learned a lot of analysis from just by watching his videos, haven't paid for any of his service or anything. And so this is what Chart Norris had drawn up, effectively just this wedge based on these two highs and these two lows over here, which maybe, this is hand wavy connecting it there. I just try to kind of copy what he had drawn up, and then also had this, coming up to retest, these lows here, so got rejected there. And so, this looks like it could be breaking out to the upside. But what I had done is, I was just kind of taking a step back, looking at the chart. What do I see with it? And so this is on the weekly time frame. And I was just thinking, well, maybe, I could connect some lows over here. I could maybe have the 2 pivot points over here, but I just drew it with the low going back to, I guess, September 2020, and then the low over here being the end of January 2022. And we got some, tests of that level here, but didn't get any closes below it. And, we are now approaching that level. So maybe there's some good dip buying opportunities. And then another thing, just because I tried to do like a Fibonacci extension. Maybe I could do some retracements to get an idea of where it could be coming to. But I just don't know which low would I'd probably want to, so it's, runs up here. And so, yeah, I might actually, I'll first explain this other level, then I'll draw Fibonacci from here to the top, and then might give us, a retracement level. And so the other level that I've drawn here is just based on these 2 pivot points. I believe I drew on the daily time frame, but from here we can see November 11th of 2022, the weekly. So the week that ended on that day, and then the other low being the low of the middle of March 2023. Excuse me. And so because, we have this run up, and then following the pullback, the low that we see following that is from here, 1277. And so I can draw a retracement from 1277 up to 99.62, and maybe we're right around, the 786. So we will see. I'm just going to do a regular Fibonacci retracement. So 1277 and then 99.62. Where is that 786? That's at 31.36. We're actually below that level now. So maybe that's not looking so good, but I mean, there are like 3 levels that are, effectively converging right around here from around, 31 to 32, coming down to like 28 or so. So that's, 30 plus or minus $2. Yeah, I mean, I think it looks really cool. I don't know how quickly it would bounce. I was thinking maybe I could pick up some calls. Let's see. Just going to highlight the calls here. Thinking, going out far into the future. So there are no contracts in December because that would be around Christmas, I imagine. So don't want to do that with that being a holiday. The market's closed for. And so let's see here. January 17th. Let's look at the calls. For this, what's a level that I could see this coming up to, just being reasonable? This level that Chart Norris pointed out, $36. That seems like a reasonable level for us to move up to. So a $36 strike. These are kind of odd, at $36.66. Weird. It's $222 to buy one of those. So, yeah, I don't know if that's enough time. And so maybe, March is a better time frame. 36, it could be $37.50, $335 there. April. Yeah, I don't know. So I don't know that I want to risk on these like that. But, I mean, maybe I could be considering it to go even higher, like up to here. This is like 70, or the lows over here. That seems like this is about 50. The lows over here, 45. So maybe there's something there. April, 45, 236. So I feel like that's kind of a reasonable one, and then could swing that for premium, ideally. But yeah, let's see, what's the theta decay on that? That's like 1 cent a day. So yeah, I mean, maybe that's something that I want to partake in, but I don't think it would be like a daily video like I've been doing with Tilray, just because I think this might be bleeding more, slow moving, whatever. But anyways, let's see, what's Nameless requesting. Could I take a look at PAGS? Of course. So let's check that out. PAGS. I believe I went over that a couple Sundays ago. And so, okay, it looks like I'd drawn these gaps here. I believe I went over this a couple Sundays ago, if I'm not mistaken. And so that would have, let's see, included this hammer candle was probably the last one that I did, because then this was the following week, and it's just kind of come down, filling that gap at $8.24, but not $7.74. And so, yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about gaps. I made that solid because it's been filled. I've been thinking about gaps differently, really kind of inspired by, I think, an AMC video that I did talking about market psychology. And that, I just think it's really interesting how if there is a gap, like these two gaps here, people might be looking at it and say, okay, I'm going to buy when both of these gaps get filled. And then, from there, 777, then there's just kind of like a downside risk to about $7, so 693 here. So maybe that could be a stop loss, maybe at 690. And from, that seems like, it could be a nice trade. And so like from 777 coming down to there, it's like, yeah, a little over 10% risking, 11% risking. And so, yeah, I mean, I feel like that's intriguing, but I think one way to get people to kind of FOMO into a position is if they're waiting for this gap at 777 to fill, it doesn't get filled, but the top one does. And so they're like, oh, it came down to 8. That's fine, that's great, but I want to wait for 777. And so people just wait down here for it not to get for it to get filled, and it doesn't. It takes off, then they get left behind. They had a great trade planned out with stop loss at 690, and they get left behind. So yeah, and actually, I've been thinking about that. The Tilray videos that I've been doing have really been helping me kind of like have a plan for like, what's a stop loss? Okay, so my trade is based on, I think that there are dip buys over here, these gaps, and, then a stop loss at 690 or 693, and yeah. So, I mean, I think that this is intriguing right now, up about 2% today, but I mean, it could still go lower, could fill that second gap, and could come down to $7 a share, 693. And this did put in a lower low here. So what would be really nice is if we put in a higher high, a higher low, which, this, we're not going to be able to draw anything to suggest a higher low. So, yeah, I mean, what I would do, like, I don't have a position in it. I'm kind of intrigued by this, argument that I'm making with $7 or $6.90 being a stop loss level, is that this is, to me, like kind of a compelling trade. Picking up shares now that this gap is filled, 624. And then there's a downside risk from 824, from 824 to that lower portion. It's like 16% risk to the downside. So I don't want to lose that much. But there is a plan for a stop loss. And, just to get to the highs up here, that's an 80% move. So I find this to be an intriguing trade. Also, there's this gap to the upside that, has not been filled, and that corresponds with this level over here. So I find that intriguing. So yeah, I mean, I feel like I don't have a position. If I were to establish a position, which I'm intrigued by the chart, and to be honest, I don't know anything about the company, just thinking about this as a trade with a stop loss. So I would not be in it forever if I was wrong. I would say I'm going to establish half a position at 824. I'll establish, or maybe, want to do a quarter of a position at 824. And so maybe I should map this out, how I want to do this. I probably wouldn't get a lot of shares, but, I could say, okay, I'll get a quarter of a position at 820. for another quarter of position, so I'd have a half at 777, and then say I get the other half at $7 if it comes down, if it goes south. And so really, I think I would have at most a half of a position because I don't think it'd come down to 7. But if it did, then I just add then with the hope that it doesn't hit a lower low. If it does hit a lower low, then I'd be stopped out, and that would be going from 7 to 690, so that's not a big deal as far as the risk goes, and I'd potentially be getting my average down a lot. Really nice buying that dip. So maybe I'd consider doing something like that. So I'm intrigued. I wrote it in my little notebook, PAGS, that I'm intrigued by that. And let's see. Yeah. So, and I mean, if we look at the if we look at the RSI, it's 3097. It was on Monday 2650. And so, yeah, maybe this is the dip and it's starting to turn around. So that could be it. It could also not be. So, like, if I had a position in it, I'd probably handle it differently. But I feel like just looking at the chart, seems to me like a stop loss level. Like whether it's 693 or 690 is probably what I would do. Because maybe it does come down. Maybe it forms a double bottom at 693. But yeah, I mean, this has been putting in lower lows. So yeah, I mean, I find that intriguing. So hopefully that's helpful. And one other thing, more money. What's up? How's it going? It's been a while. And so I will look at Math. Is that a cryptocurrency? I'm not familiar with it. If it is, I can look at that in TradingView. So I'd be happy to do that. And then I'm a new thing that I'm doing with the Ticker Request Live is just one ticker at a time. So more money. If you want me to look at Math, if that's cryptocurrency, I can do that. Or if you want me to look at TNXP or Rivian. So let me know which one you prefer, and I will go over that. And then let's see. Nameless is saying, could you also check the Como editor ST? I don't know what that is, but STNE. So yeah, I'll pull that up. And then, yeah, so more money. Just let me know which of those you'd like me to go over. One thing that I want to mention with Celsius, which I didn't mention before, Gareth Soloway, I believe, pointed this out today during his Trading the Close video, is that we have been putting in lower lows in the stock price here, right? So I'm just going to take this trend line and connect it to here. And here. So, even though we went a little bit lower than that, we have been, following this trend line of lower lows. And then if we do the exact same kind of trend line from right over here, just being approximate, we can do it from the same day or it doesn't have to be. We can see that we're putting in higher lows. And so that's bullish divergence. And the fact that it's not just like what I've been finding with these bullish divergence is I'd pointed out like, oh, here, lower low in the stock price, higher low in the RSI, that's bullish divergence. It's going to go up. But really what I think you want to see is basically, I mean, it's not going to be the same days up here, but if I just kind of connect this to those like pivot points, basically, you can see that, we've formed this line and now over here, we're basically testing it again. And so that could be the bounce that sends it up. And so over here, just very similar. I didn't lock it into place, but I'm going to just drag it so we can see here. Actually, maybe I won't do that because that's so far away from that candle right there. Let's see. There we go. So this is locked into place. Yeah. So, I mean, there's bullish divergence there. So I think that is pretty intriguing overall. And this could be going up 250% to get to this. Who knows how long that would take, but yeah, I mean, I find that intriguing, and maybe that's not a position I want to get calls in like I was looking at, and something that I could that I consider. We have these higher lows that are formed, and so maybe what I want to do is, since this other pivot point is 26.75, maybe that's my stop loss. 26.75. Or maybe I just want to do 20, because I mean, maybe it double bottoms there. It could. I don't know. It's something to consider for me. And also, PAGS, which I'm curious to see, what is this company about? So PAGS Seguro Digital Ltd. is a disruptive provider of financial technology solutions focused primarily on consumers, individual entrepreneurs, micro merchants, small companies, and medium-sized companies in Brazil. Cool. So it's a Brazilian company. And yeah, I mean, this is just, the chart's intriguing as far as the stop loss level. I'm trying to get better at doing trades where I have a bottom side where I'm not going to hold it anymore. But with overall a bullish thesis. So I think that's cool. And so Rivian is what More Money is requesting. So I'll go over Rivian, and then I will go over STNE for nameless. And so, yeah, Rivian, this one, let's see. I didn't have a bunch on this. I mean, I don't usually have a lot on the side, but I'm trying to get better at being in and out of trades and stuff like that. I called this inverse head and shoulders. The measured move played out, but just in case I didn't want to be left not holding any, I kind of was buying on the way down. And I think based on this Fibonacci retracement, the 618 at 1231, I had bought a few shares up here. And then I think at this 618, I said, well, that's at 1231. Maybe it doesn't come down to the 618. Maybe it just comes down to like just above it. I had a buy order for, I think, 5 shares. I can actually let you know. I don't have a big position because I'm just kind of like averaging into it. But I can pull up. And I did have some calls on it, but then we just like moved down recently, and so I cut them at losses. But let's see here. I'm just looking at the position that I have in Rivian and just seeing when I was buying. So I have 13 shares, not a lot. And so, yeah, I had bought 3 shares. Wow, I knew this correctly. So I bought my first one at 16.35, then I got one at 15, then I got one at 13.30, which is corresponding to this red line here. And $15 was probably just like kind of psychological, that being a $5 bills. And then I bought 5 shares at 12.35. And then since then, I have bought 5 more shares, one at 11, one at 10.99, one at 10.88, and then I saw it go down to 10.69. I was like, oh, I got to get some at 10.69, so I got one more there, and then I got one at 10, and now trading above that dip we saw on the 4th, a low of 9.83. And so I guess because of that, I drew this uptrend. And, so just from a few days ago, and I probably did that for my own, kind of analysis, not doing a video on it. And yeah, so I'm hoping that that's the low, that we have a higher low in there. But if not, let's see. Yeah, like 10.05, I guess, that was a level. That was the low over here. So, I mean, if this is not the bottom that we just saw on the 4th, which was last Friday, the low of 9.83. If that's not the low, I could maybe do a Fibonacci extension that would suggest where a low could be. But I feel like that's probably the low, and I'm hoping that this uptrend holds. So that's why I drew it there. If it doesn't, if we do start closing below 10.05, which was the low from let's see, February 23rd, the low is 10.06. And then on February 26th, the low is 10.05. So if we start closing below 10, I think this is probably coming back down to these all-time lows. I believe they were all-time lows of 8.26. So that is what I would look for. But so what I can do is I can do a Fibonacci extension. So I would do that from the high here. I mean, I could do it from the high here. And maybe I'll adjust that, but because it did have a pretty nice bounce, I would think that I should draw it from here. And so that's how I will draw this Fibonacci extension, going from the high here at should be 24.62 down to the low at 8.26, and then okay, so I don't have many levels drawn on this, so I need to add them. I'm just going to make sure these levels are right. So that's 18.86, should be here, 8.26, and then 24.62. So those are all correct levels. And so now I just want to add some here. So the 786 is $6. So maybe we could be going to that. The 618 is $8.75. And so maybe that could be the higher low. If we do break below this uptrend that I have drawn here, the 50% retracement is 10.68. So we are like testing that right now. So yeah, I think this looks a little bit precarious, but I'm hoping that 983, considering that there's, this level over here from that low, I'm hoping that that is the bottom. But if not, it seems like 875 could be the next level down. If I do adjust this, though, maybe I want to, let's see, I mean, but then it kind of like is never ending. I could just be, maybe I just adjust that to back here. And, I feel like this, let's see, I'm just going to do a Fibonacci retracement from this low to there. That seems like, this was a move, and then we had a retracement of the 786, and then this is another one. So I think it's totally fine that I have that extension starting from up there. So yeah, and so I guess to the upside, man, I got a lot of lines drawn up here. It's kind of cluttered. Let's see. Yeah, we broke below these, so I am going to remove them. It's the 618 and the 65%. And we are currently kind of testing the 786 here. So yeah, I mean, that's another level that we're lower than it, 1053, but we had retraced to that before getting a nice bounce. So maybe I want to draw that one back up here just so we kind of have it as reference. So from that, we did the retracement to the 786. That was at a low of, let's see, I just want to make sure that I have this lined up right. Yeah, so that's should be correct. 1168 and then 2806. So yeah, that's good. And so from that move, we did go barely lower than it, but not really. The low here was 1512. So that was a very nice retracement there. From that, we got a move of about 62% to the upside. So from here, a 62% move to the upside from the 786. Where would that put us? Let's say just around 60%. That could put us at $17 a share. Maybe it goes there, maybe it doesn't. But what we can do is draw a Fibonacci retracement from here to see if there is something that makes sense with that. And so that is the correct high there, 983, that is that. And so the 786 is right around $17. So that kind of makes sense there. Can make this yellow so it looks a little bit different. And But, we also might have some resistance here around $15. That was, the formation of this bull flag here, or bear flag support, was found there before dropping lower. And so that could be a level of resistance to the upside. And so maybe I want to add the 618, which is around, 1541, whereas the 50% retracement is around 1434. So those are levels that I could see a price getting to if the bottom is currently in. But if it's not, I could see it going down to 9 or 875. And if that does not hold, I think it's going to be hitting new lows. So yeah, hopefully that's hopeful. I'm excited about it. Hopefully you are too. And I guess I should note, I don't have that many shares, only 13. But what is my average, just to share with you guys, if you're curious? My average price is $12.30. And so, it's right around here. So, I could get it lower. I think I probably have a buy order placed, $10. And so if that doesn't get filled this week, and I think that like the bottom's in, maybe I'd want to just maybe do 1 share a week or something, while it goes up, while it's below my average. So that could be something I do. Not exciting. And let's see. Just trying to think. This is higher low in the stock price, whereas we have, it's a higher low, so there's no bullish divergence there. So nothing there, sorry. But yeah, hopefully that's helpful. And no problem, more money. Happy to go over it. And so let's see. Nameless had the request for, this is a follow-up on PAGS. Saw that there are payment processors all over Brazil when I was there. Oh, cool. Yeah, so I think that's, so I have this book that I started reading at the beginning of the year. I didn't finish it just because I found it kind of boring. And just, I was getting busy making videos for the channel. The book by Larry Fink on, I think, One Up on Wall Street. Some interesting stories in it, but overall it's just like his investment style is very different from mine, what I'm trying to learn. But I do think there were some nice stories in it. But he talked about how, a way that you can trade or invest is, if you go out, whether it's in your neighborhood, wherever you are, and you see something and it's like, oh, like I see Chewy boxes on so many people's porches. Maybe that's something to invest in because, it's everywhere. I see it, people utilize it. So I think that that's a good way to invest, whether it's long term or thinking about a technical level. But yeah, I mean, for me, PAGS, this just seems like it's got that stop loss level at like 690, also being fun, 69. So I think I might. I haven't done anything with it yet. But I also want to note Celsius, because those are two that I think I could pick up some shares, not calls, with stop losses and see about that and kind of plan out a quarter of position here, half position here, stuff like that. So that might be a nice way to, a nice exercise for myself. Probably risking less, like $100 on them, so nothing too crazy. So actually with Celsius, maybe, I would just get 1 share and then wait for, and then, maybe accumulate if it does go lower, to have about $100 in that. PAGS could get, what I'd probably want to do is get 10 shares at, basically current price at this top gap fill around 824. Current price, we're above it. I missed the gap. And if it goes lower, get 10 more shares at 777. If it goes lower than that, I could still add more to it, but then have that stop loss at 690. But anyways, Nameless was also requesting STNE, so I'll go over that. And so if you guys do have tickers you want me to go over, just please request one at a time, and then I'll just go over them in order so we kind of get going with everybody, covering everybody's stuff. And so I've got R Scrubs M has KTOS. Kratos Defense, that's probably a good move, a defense stock. With everything that's going on in the world right now. GameStop, I will add, for Corey Gold And then Marcos says legend, so I don't know what you're referring to. If you're referring to me, thank you. And then SMCI, I will do that as well. And so I'll just try to go over those in order. And SMCI, I feel like I could imagine semiconductors to go higher because I recently added to my short semiconductors position. And, as it goes, the market tends to do the exact opposite of what you do. I buy, it goes down. I sell, it goes up, whatever. So yeah, I will go over STNE. And so this one looked like, was I suggesting this was a, yeah, I don't know. It looks like there's I don't know what drawings I had up here. But yeah, it did come down to that. So I don't know if I was right about that or if I just not sure. Oh, I think I was pointing out maybe this is, yeah, I don't know what I was drawing there. So I'm just going to delete those so I'm not distracted by them. Take a step back. This, in my opinion, does not look good for a number of factors. And so I'll just draw them out for you why this doesn't look good to me. But maybe it's a fake out. Maybe this is not, what it seems. But to me, if I just draw from, let's see, this low. Well, really what I think the best way to kind of do this is then, yeah, so it's like, pivot from that point. If I make that thicker, purple, I want to make it really thick. This could be a Head and Shoulders. And let's see. And this could be a bear flag. Because we got this down move, consolidation. So I don't really like the look of it because this, I mean, I don't have a position in it. If I had, a bunch of money, I'd be willing to just toss into something like this. I want to buy a put because I think that this consolidation is probably going to break lower. I mean, and if we think about this, the highest move here was on September 27th, hit a high of 1167. So, closed up here, so that looked good. But then it's just, pretty big wick up there, and it hasn't, been able to get back up to there. On the downside, this is a close pretty low there, a smaller wick. I mean, this is a spinning top that bounced there. This is kind of like a dragonfly doji, so which is like big wick to the downside, so that means buyers are stepping in. So this could be going higher. The thing that makes me think maybe this is not a bear flag is that it's been going on for so long. So let's see how, rather than counting them, it's over 2 weeks of trading like this. And so I feel like this is probably going to break to the downside. And yeah, I mean, and also it's been putting in lower lows. This is a down sloping neckline, lower lows, and then even, from over here, this low was 1085, which is lower than the low. It tells me the number, the lowest one. So yeah, 1085, whereas the low over here was on September 5th was 1102. It's a lower low there, and then a lower low here. So yeah, I mean, maybe there's like a wedge that it could be breaking out of or something. But this is probably like hopium, just like connecting the highs there. I'm just going to make sure this is the high. 1263. Yep. So, I mean, maybe there's a wedge there that if there's a big green candle, maybe there's a breakout there. But this still does look like, a head and shoulders pattern. And the measurement for that from the top here down to the neckline, and let's say it breaks, over here, we got the intersection of that downtrend with the neckline. That could be put in price at like sub $7 a share. 664 is what that measurement is, down about 37% from current price. So yeah, it doesn't look so good to me. But I mean, like taking a step back though, this does look like it could be breaking. So I'd look for a breakout. And so what would constitute that being a breakout? I'd say a close above this high. So what was this high? 1167. We get a close above 1167. I feel like that means that kind of like negates this is a bear flag, and that maybe there's a retest after that. But that would be suggesting some strength in my view. If we got a close above 1167, if we continue to put in lower lows, I think that this could be playing out. So I'd be cautious about that. But yeah, so my thesis is this is bearish and this could be coming down to $7 a share. If I'm wrong though, what would make me convinced that I am wrong is a close above 1167. So I would look for that. And especially if it's a big green candle, like this kind of candle, but just moved over here, shoot, close above 1167, that would look good. And what we can see, talking about these lower lows in the price, there's something that we see. I actually feel like this could actually be bullish. And you might wonder why. I feel like I just contradicted myself there. That's what trading is all about. Looking into stuff and then, kind of debating things, looking at the data that's here. So the RSI, that's the data that I'm thinking about. And so I was just going on about how there are these lower lows being put in. This is a lower low than that one. And that one's a lower low than this one. So we're putting in lower lows in the stock price. What are we putting in with the RSI? Just went over it with Celsius, but going from the low here, connecting it to that pivot point, there's a low here with a bounce. We've been putting in higher lows, and that's bullish divergence. So I feel like this could be putting in a candle that, maybe it looks like this, just over one day. And it would be green like that. And I don't know, what are the settings? Midline. What's the midline? So yeah, I think that's what we want to see, like a candle like that, which I think we could be getting because we have this bullish divergence. So yeah, so I guess I would, if there's a big candle like this, but closing below the low here, or this intersection here, which is around 1050. If you get a close below 1050, I think the head and shoulders pattern could play out, and this could happen. If you get a close above 1167, I think we have bullish divergence, breakout from a wedge pattern, and maybe this could be going up to, from current price up to 1508. So like 37% move to the upside. And so in me trying to get better with having plans with stop loss, because I don't have a position in STNE, if I were to trade this, what would I do? I said 1050 here. That could be finding support because right around here, there's consolidation there. So maybe the stop loss level that I'd want to have is 934, or maybe 950. That was the low over here. And so that's probably how I would trade it. I would think, this could come down to 1050 and still be doing lower lows, but putting in the bullish divergence. And so, like this, yeah, so there's the bullish divergence there, more immediate time frame. And so like if it went below 1050, I would think that this could be playing out to the downside, but it may not. And so I would say my stop loss would probably be around 950, or maybe 934, 930. I don't know. I'd have a stop loss between 930 and 950. And I would be keeping an eye on the close around 1050, but I would not have a stop loss there. But yeah, I mean, if it goes down to 934, then I think it'd be going down to $7. And then that's preventing, a further $2 loss. So that's like, I don't know, 20 to 30% loss further downside. So yeah, that's what I would do. Because this may not be or maybe it's a head and shoulders pattern, but maybe it fakes out. Maybe it's just done to trick retail into thinking, hey, by first glance, this is a head and shoulders pattern, not which takes a little bit more technical analysis, savvy, being a little bit more savvy with it, which, I really just learned from watching Gareth Soloway. He literally just mentioned bullish divergence in the Celsius chart today. And so that is what I see here. And so, yeah, I think that it looks like there's a level to the upside. I think would be a clear breakout, 1167. A level to the downside to keep an eye on, 1050, and potentially stop loss around 934. So yeah, cool chart. Thank you for the suggestion. And then, so now I will move over to R Scrubs M, who suggested KTOS, which is defense. So yeah, maybe this is a little extended though. So I don't know, how high could this continue to go? I'm going to look at the weekly chart and see. Okay, so what we have here, I feel like this is probably below the 786, but I'm just going to draw that from this low at $5 up to 34.11. Dang it. And so, yeah, that did go below the 786, but that was a nice dip buy level because from that, price is up 127%. So pretty nice there. And with that being said, with it being up 127% from this low, it's getting kind of risky now. And so I will delete these other levels, but I am going to leave the 786 just so we have it on there kind of as a guide. And so now what I'm going to do is another retracement, but going from the high here at 34.11 down to the low here at 891. So I'm just going to make sure that's lined up right. 34.11. Perfect. Okay, so the 786 is up there, but maybe it doesn't get up to the 786. Maybe it stops at the 618 or right around that golden pocket. That is where we are at. So I think that this looks pretty risky because it's already gone up to the golden pocket, the 618 Fibonacci level. So I think that there's potential. I mean, it could be a full retracement getting up to 34.11. So from current price, that's about 35% move to the upside. Maybe it only goes to the 786. That's about 13% to the upside. But let's think about this here. We're putting in higher highs. And so I'm just going to draw a trend line here from, this high to this high. Higher highs, we can see that. And so from right around the same time, we are putting in lower highs in the RSI. And so let's see, what's the high here from May 31st? In the RSI, that's 65.77. The high over here, 65.27, so slightly lower. And this is, again, lower. This is higher, though, relative to that one. This is, yeah, what is it? 65, 62. So maybe we're starting to break that bearish divergence. This is starting to flip green now. But since, okay, we've got this pivot high over here, so that's another thing. So we've kind of got multiple levels that we need to be considering that we're bumping into. And so 2508 is the high over here, so I'm going to draw a line there. This is one that could be, sorry to say, a red line in the sand. We're 1 penny below it. And so the reason why that level stands out, it was a pivot high here before we came down. Coming down from there, 80% after a lot of boring consolidation. And, you know, this is the argument that maybe what I was just looking at with STNE, maybe this is, oh, what was I just looking at? Yeah, this is the weekly time frame. But that, like, maybe this is a bear flag because I was saying it's going on for about 2 weeks. The bear flag over here, you know, which maybe has to do with world events. But this was a, you know, effectively a bear flag that went on for 200 days before breaking lower. And so that's something to consider. This is 2020. And so this dropped. These were the pandemic lows, the end of March, right there. So who would have known? Black swan event. Because I would have thought that this, you know, spent so much time moving this way, and also kind of, you know, you know, it's ugly, but this is kind of a rising three methods. You know, if you were to lump these two candles together, or not really, I mean, because it came back down, but, you know, so this one, a big green candle, then it pulls back, and then it goes back up. So that's kind of like a falling through methods type of pattern, but then it's just, you know, unforeseen news, the world is ending, all of that type of stuff, and this comes down. Who could have predicted? Maybe there's a trend line that we could be considering with that. So over here, what was this low? This is 2016. So yeah, let's draw some trend lines that could be suggesting where this could be pulling back to if the top is in. And these are all the weekly candles. And so this is 5. And so that's 280 and 490. I want that to be 5. WTF. There we go. Okay, so that's those two pivot lows. We did not test it. And so here I can draw another trend line from that low. Oops. Trend line, not a measurement. So from 5 to the low, I gotta have to adjust that, but just want to get to the low here, which is 891. This is to 5. Just gonna make sure that's lined up. 5, 891. So those are a couple levels, and so this is like maybe red one to the downside. This is an orange one to the downside. And this is, I'll make that yellow. Actually, no, I'm going to leave it white. Dang it. Okay, so there. So yeah, what I was talking about was kind of like these, considering these multiple levels. So we got this pivot high here, 2508. That coincides with the 65% level, which is, you know, maybe not super significant, but that's the top of the golden pocket here. The 618 is at 2448. So those are, you know, that level, 2508 matches with that. So these two levels there, that could be that this is putting in a top. And so this might be pulling back. Where might it be pulling back to? Maybe this orange uptrend. Or, you know, like what we could consider here is, you know, let's just think about this as like being a repeating pattern. Okay, so this pulled back over the course of 2 years, basically, 672 days. And so let's say over here, this pulls back that same time frame, but then intersects with that uptrend. But maybe it doesn't intersect with that uptrend. Maybe it skips it like it did here. And so if that is the case, what is the distance there? That is about $2 whatever from that line. So let's say it does this. And so it only comes down to there. So I'm going to adjust this to there. So that's a 33% pullback to, and maybe I'm hand waving with that. So it could be a 33% pullback or a 45% pullback. And let's consider this being the 786, it did pull back to that level, but go lower than it. Let's say this goes here. And man, this is kind of cluttered, but I'm just going to keep that retracement up there. So 891, I know that one. And then 2551 is the other level, 2551. I'm not looking at the right thing. I want to look at this. This retracement, 2551. Okay, so that's right. And so what we have here is retracing to the 786, could be, testing that orange uptrend. That would be coming down to like 1246, and that would be around June of next year, the middle of June of next year. If it only came back to the golden pocket, which I could see happening because I believe with Rocket Lab, it had pulled back to the 786, and then I was waiting for it to pull back to the 786 on a different pullback, and only came down to the golden pocket. And so maybe that golden pocket's here, and that's around $14 to $15. So, but, with what's going on in the world, if this is a defense contractor, maybe this is going a lot higher. So Kratos Defense and Security Solution Inc. is a technology, product, system, and software company addressing the defense, national security, and commercial markets. And so government solutions and unmanned systems. So, yeah, I just think that this looks like it's kind of at a risky time to be establishing a position. And I would think it's a risky time to not be trimming if already have a position. Because maybe it goes up to the 786. Maybe it goes beyond 3411. But maybe this red line here is resistance that coincides with the golden pocket here. And it's going to be pulling back 45% over the course of the next 2 years. So something to consider. But I can't really see this happening, pulling back all the way to there, but maybe there's going to be a slight pullback before, the next leg up. So hopefully that's helpful. I would exercise caution with this one right now because of this red line pivot point here, 2508, and because we're below it. So hopefully that's helpful. And so the next one, I will go over GameStop. I probably don't have too much to say with this. I'm going to switch. In that analysis, I should note for KTOS was on the weekly time frame. I switched to the monthly. I meant to do the daily. Okay, so now this is the daily. What I see with this is, and for me, I do very small dollar cost average buys, very not exciting. I last week had a buy at 21, but I removed it and I changed it to 20 because I find this purple uptrend to be really compelling. That is based on the low from May 24th and the low from August 5th when the markets gapped down. And so we, tested that over here. Got a very nice bounce from there, going up 12% when we tested that level. We also tested that here. We got a wick down, but then it closed back up. So, when we hit that level, it was a red day, because we gapped down, but when buying that level, it went up 6%, 7, 8%. You could even say from buying that level and holding up to here, it went up 22%. So I could see this coming back down to that purple uptrend, and that would be right around $20 a share. So my buy at $21, I switched it to 20. And, I think I also kind of talked about like the psychology around these two gaps. And I think that this gap at 1746, I don't think it's going to get filled. And I think that people who are waiting for it to get filled are going to get left behind, and they will realize they're getting left behind when we fill this gap at 48.75, and then they'll FOMO in, and then that just kind of is another catalyst for this to go beyond. So I think that this could be coming down to 20. And I think that we could get a very nice bounce from that level. But as time goes on, this is an uptrending level. So maybe it doesn't come down to 20. But right now, this low from August 28th is at 1988. And so that's still, as of right now, above that purple uptrend. So I feel like $20 is definitely a reasonable target. And I think that could be the bottom. Also, thinking about the MACD here, it did just flip red. And so when it flips red, maybe there's a little bit more bleeding, like coming down to 20. And then we get a violent move to the upside from 20. And so here, after it had two red days, negative days in the MACD, what kind of percentage did it come down following that? It came down about 6%, let's say. And so from today's close, that's in line with that previous, pullback. If it takes, another week for the MACD to switch green, this could be pulling back to 20. Maybe we go below 20, like this would suggest 1953 or 1950. I think waiting for 20 is a good thing. And I think that one thing that retail tends to do, I was talking about this with AMC, but I think it's probably not as dramatic with GameStop, but maybe it is. But like if there's a stock where, retail just keeps buying. Whenever there's a dip, they keep buying. Oh, it's down a little bit. It's below 21. I'm going to buy more. But not waiting for a technical level like $20 a share. Then, if I was a hedge fund, I could potentially, they're just going to buy the dip. So let's drop it and then we pump it. And then they'll probably, YOLO or FOMO in, pushing it higher. Then we dump up here. And then as it pulls back below 21, retail might start buying it, but let's just let it continue to bleed until we get to this technical level. And then we pump it. And then, kind of like rinse and repeat. So I think that a better way for retail to approach stocks like GameStop, like AMC, is not just to say my average is 28, whatever it is. My average is not 28, by the way. I don't have a very large position because I was selling covered calls and I ended up getting moved out of my position, which I'm not proud of, but it's a lesson that I learned and I am just moving forward with it. My average in my main account is 2133, so I'm doing pretty good with it. Wish I had more shares, but I do accumulate. And so I plan on accumulating at 20. And I think if like retail waits for those dip levels, then it can kind of, create it can trigger a violent move to the upside. Whereas if retail is just buying like, it's below my average, it's below Roaring Kitty's average at 23.41, I'm just gonna, be adding as it comes down. Then when we get to that technical level, there's no like punch to launch it because retail's gotten exhausted here. And then it's just kind of a whimper, little bounces down, rinse and repeat. And so I think if we are saying, hey, 2071, it's below 21, it's below my average, I'm going to buy it because it's below my average. Rather than saying that, I think if we say, I'm going to wait for this technical level, and then if retail, is all kind of doing that, saying, hey, I've been buying enough the past few months. Roaring Kitty's been quiet. I don't know what's going on. So I'm just going to wait. If it hits 20, then I'll put this lump sum in. And then if retail, it all kind of has the same mindset, that's how you get a big move, because it's, not orchestrated, but it's, you know, how like many becoming more powerful if we start to buy on technical levels rather than just at dips. So I think 20 seems like on many levels a very smart dip buying level. And if it breaks below that, maybe 1950, as I had just kind of done that comparison with when the MACD flipped red here, it would come down to, from a measurement around 1950. And then if it breaks below that, if it breaks below 1950, I don't think it's going to come down to 1746. So I would say maybe 18 or, 1873, 19. I don't have a trend line or anything drawn, but yeah, those are my thoughts with that. So hopefully that's helpful. Parker Peter, yeah, I definitely remember you. How's it going? And so I've kind of changed the stream a little bit. Like if you have a request, I'll do one ticker per person. And then once I go over your ticker, you can request another one. But since I have been streaming for an hour, it's a weeknight. I don't have work tomorrow, but I kind of wanted to relax a little bit. I'll probably end the stream in a little bit. So Parker Peter, let me know what you'd like me to go over, and I will. And let's see. Okay, so now I'm going to Marcus, which is SMCI. I might go over the semiconductors, and I might pull up somebody's tweet who I think is a really good trader. I respect him a lot. I don't pay for his service, but I think he's just a really good, disciplined trader. I have a lot to learn from him, just kind of like watching him. And so I might pull up his tweet because I think he might have mentioned SMCI and talking about semiconductors. And, I'm biased. I'm short semiconductors. But, yeah, I can be wrong for a little while and still make money in the end, as I have been throughout most of 2024. And I ended up making money on some moves. And so, Chris Wilson, I do see your good evening to you as well. And I see Laser being requested. I will definitely add Luminar. I was pretty excited about them yesterday because it looked like they were going to break above $1. But they got rejected, so it's kind of disappointing. And so it looks like our Scrubs M also mentioning Luminar, so I'll definitely go over them. And let's see. Last time, Parker's saying, last time we had our Coco the Meme squeeze the following week. Oh! So, our Coco the Meme squeezed the following week. Please check out Upwork. I will definitely add that nameless. And so, Parker, let's see. Okay, so I'm intrigued by what Parker's saying. So last time we had our Coco the Memes squeezed the following week. So I'm curious, are you referring to like cocoa as in like cocoa beans when that was moving up, when cocoa was moving up, or are you talking about when the memes squeezed up here, like the last time you were here was in May? And so you're saying algos here to give you a heads up. So are you saying that you think that there's going to be a squeeze with the memes soon? Is that what you're saying? I'm curious. And I might check just on my phone real quick to see if maybe Roaring Kitty's not tweeted anything. So dang it. But yeah, I will pull up something from Twitter or from X that I think might be helpful. Chart Norris, this is kind of his analysis that I was going over from Celsius. But what I wanted to pull up is let's see. I want to pull, Colin Gladman. I think that he's a really good trader. I think that he's got a lot of really good ideas. So I'm just going to pull up his tweet. So he's saying AMD, NVIDIA, Micron, whatever, and TSM all have fantastic setups on their charts going into ending of the year. So that makes me a little nervous because I just added to my short position. And, so this, yeah, that's me. Ha ha ha. But I'm not super bearish. But anyways, yeah. So let's consider this. He did not mention SMCI, so I will go over. I'm just going to switch over to the semis list here. And so SMCI, supermicrocomputer. This one to me doesn't look so good. Need to be getting higher closes. I don't know. This is tough. This is one that's like kind of divergent. What's this here? Split, 10 for 1 split, which occurred on the 4th. Oh, okay. So this had a different price recently. I need to drink some water. Man. Oh, yeah. This is why I don't have any drawings on it. I'm going to have to delete all my drawings because they're going to be off. But so following this up move, what was the low? That was over here. So I can do a Fibonacci retracement from 2266 up to the high of 122.90. Lock that into place. We're currently trading around the 786. This could be a bottom. We are putting in lower lows here. These are progressively lower, so maybe we're putting in some bullish divergence. So you can see that lower lows not corresponding with this exactly because we did put in a lower low here, but from here there is potentially some bullish divergence, although I think it would be nice to see like another test of this. So if this were to have a lower low of 30 than 37.30, maybe coming down to 37, and the RSI maintains above this, I would think that'd be really good. But at the same time, I think that if that happened, it would probably be breaking below this trend line with the RSI. So I feel like with this, I'm trying to get better at I don't have a position in this. If I were to have a position in this, I want to have a stop loss when I enter positions so I am not just holding forever. And so I would have a stop loss right around 37.30. Maybe 37, maybe 37.25. But that seems to make sense to me, that wick there, because I think if we go lower than that, I think that this bullish divergence ends up being negated, and this could potentially be coming down, to the lows over here, which was, what was the low? 22. I mean, it could be it's actually up here. So, the high is over here, 35. It could be dropping $10 a share. But 37, yeah, that's kind of low. That's pretty low relative to where the price is at. But yeah, I think that this could be putting in a bottom, but yeah. So I think it could be putting in a bottom, but I don't think it looks that strong. Because, this is down move, consolidation, and yeah, so what's the highest level that we've seen here? We haven't been able to get any closes above it. So, there's this gap here. Why can't we fill this gap? What is this? Close is at 54.76. Why can't we fill that gap? There we go. And so I think that it's kind of surprising that we're not able to see it. We got 5% down today. But maybe, yeah, with this split, maybe the bottom's in for it. So I could see that, and I think that 37.30 or maybe 38, maybe 40 is a good stop loss level. So yeah, whatever one would do with this, I think it looks like, to me, a stop loss could be utilized here in a way that would be useful. And so I'm just going to catch up on the comments, and then I'll move to the next ticker. And so the next ticker will be Luminar, so I'll do that soon. And then I'm just going to follow up on Parker's comments. Oh, and then Upwork. Do I have Upwork on here? No, because I'm looking at the semiconductors. So if I go over to requests, got Upwork on there, so that's good. To give me a wake up. So Parker is under the impression that the meme stocks, AMC, GameStop, could be squeezing next week. And so, yeah. So maybe I'll pull up AMC and I'll go over that. We can kind of go over that too. And Disclosure Crypto, I will go over Gari Network. I will definitely do that. I'll do that in TradingView, but I'm just going to go in the order. And then, LEU, cool. And then I'll go over LEU at the end. And then I'll end on LEU. This is one that I was introduced to recently. And, Scrubs, cool. I was like, somebody else was mentioning LEU before. And it's like, oh, okay, you just changed your handle. So Scrubs, cool, what's up? And cool. So like I'm really bad at like whatever people's handles are, I just read them, not thinking about the meaning behind them. But yeah, the next one here is going to be Luminar, so I'll go over that. This looks like, that was a pretty big rejection. Down 7% today. Man, I'm holding Luminar, but I don't pay too close attention to it. For me, I have a dip buy to get 100 more shares that I could potentially sell covered call with. But Luminar options are super boring. But yeah, and also if there's going to be a reverse split coming up in October at some point, I want to have my shares divisible by whatever that reverse split is. So I'm not, having an odd number of shares at the end or, whatever. But so for me, the next dip buy level that I have is 69 cents, and I have an order placed for 100 shares there, $69, nothing too crazy. But this is, pretty big reversal. We do have these two trend lines, so that's something that we should look at to see where those lines originate from. This one, the purple one, is based on the lows from the end of 2023, those two pivot points. And then the other trend line, let's see, that's just a parallel channel, it looks like, that I drew very recently based on those highs. We got rejected from it. Those two levels, pretty not so great. And so from this, let's see, from this, okay, we can draw a trend line from the lows, and I guess, I'd like to see it hold above this trend line. So this is 72.53, and then this low from the third, which was 79.20. So I'm just going to make sure that's lined up right. 79.20. Yeah, so I'll make that thick. I would like to see this trend line be held. If it's not, I think it could be coming back down to retest these all-time lows, 72.53, and then that's why, I have this, because I just, it's, numbers get really boring. If you're just talking about numbers all the time, gotta have fun with them. So 69 cents, that's what I would look for. If there's going to be a reverse split, there could be some volatile moves leading up to it to the downside, some volatile moves after it to the upside. Who knows? And so maybe 69 cents will be filled. And so that's my buy level personally. I think I have, let's see, I'll tell you how many shares I have if you're curious. I started a very small position buying one share at a time a while ago. And then more recently, I've been more aggressive buying. And let's see, how many shares do I have? I have 900 shares. And so I get another 100 at 69 cents. And if it never hits 69 cents, that's fine. I'm happy holding my 900 shares. And I guess, too, with this, we got a rejection from these levels. So I think we need to see kind of a pullback, a cool off. Maybe 79 cents, 79.09 was the low over here. Maybe that's a level. 74, that was just a 1618. I don't think that was too significant, but that is when we came down to 72.53. So downside levels, I would like to see us hold. One is this uptrend. And so basically coming down to like 80 cents, 81 cents. I don't want to see it going lower than 81 cents. I suspect we will. And so maybe 79 would be acting as support. I kind of suspect that we would be breaking below it. And then, I think we could be hitting new lows at 69 cents. That's kind of my thought process on it. And yeah, there's a gap up here to 140. So, yeah. So I think there's some hope with that. And so I'm just going to scroll to the bottom to make sure I'm not missing anything. Are you mentioning, Scrubs, are you looking at the volume increase for Luminar or I imagine LEU? So we can definitely look at that in a minute. But then I need to just scroll up and check. Let's see. After Luminar, Nameless requested Upwork. So I'll do that. And then I'll look at AMC real quick. So... yeah, what did I say? There was one, actually, before I do this, I'm just curious. I want to look at Fastly because I think I did some analysis on this, including a drawing. And I'm just curious to see how it played out. It hasn't gotten up to here, a target of 850. But yeah, I think that I already had this in, so it wasn't really that impressive of a drawing, so never mind. Okay, so with this, I don't know when the last time I went over this was, maybe a couple weeks ago. But yeah, we got, excuse me, I'm tired. The high here of 1091. We need to see a close above that. Closed up here nicely, but couldn't get a close above that level. And so what I could see happening is, this, like if you combine these two candles, so you get like a big green candle like that. Like, I'll do it like that. Maybe I want to make, yeah, anyway, so there's like a big green candle, and then we have these smaller red ones. And so let's say we have another red one that's spanning one day, but the way this is drawn, it's from tomorrow to the next day. And so let's say that's a red candle. And so this could be the setup of a rising three methods. And so this is what I would like to see in it if this does play out, is maybe another red day, but then we get a bullish engulfing candle that engulfs all of these candles and closes above 1091. That to me would be like this downside is going to reverse and it's going to go higher. So that's what I would like to see. But just because I'd like to see it doesn't mean it's happening. And so, and if that's not happening, if something like that doesn't happen, we don't get a move above 1091, I draw Fibonacci from, let's see, I just want to see, is that, yeah, I'll draw it from there, 890 up to 1091. Where did it's the 382, yeah, pulled down to the 382, so maybe that's support. 382 is at 1015, so $10. So I could see this happening. 50%'s like right around $10, $9.91. Otherwise coming down to like $9.50. So yeah, I look for a close above $10.91. So hopefully that's helpful. I'm going to move along to the next ticker because I'm just, my throat's getting dry, so I don't want to exhaust myself too much. And so Peter Parker's saying a wake-up call because of the algos, AMC. I have also been saying, I'm waiting for this to come down to 350. And maybe we want to look, I want to look over here. Maybe we want to look at the overview for AMC. Anything going on here? I kind of like to look at the option volume. I'm going to do this for 7 days. Yeah, but this is 7.5 million. Oops. I didn't realize I could look at the column put premium like this. I kind of like this view. Bearish to bullish. Cool. I'm just, getting familiar with unusual whales. So 14 days, 30 days. Nothing standing out too much with this, but maybe something with GameStop. I don't know. Yeah, well, if there is some volatile moves in AMC next week and GameStop, I think we'll all be really happy about that. For me personally, I'm not adding to my AMC position until 350, but that's just because right now I'm paying off a credit card in the next couple weeks, and so that's basically my priority. And AMC is a dangerous thing for me because I need to pay off that credit card before my 0 APR expires at the end of the month. So that's my focus before buying more. So for me, my own personal financial reasons, that's why I'm not getting any more AMC. But yeah, this disbelief, that could be right before we start to get into some upside moves. So I could see it if this is going up. And we got the monthly options expirations for October on the 18th. So yeah, and I'd actually be curious to see if Trading with Emotions has something popping up, because he usually does, algo analysis, patterns. I haven't seen a video from him recently though. So yeah. But maybe there's some volatile stuff coming, so it could be pretty exciting. Okay, so laser volume, so Luminar volume. So I'm going to pull that back up because the increase in you're talking about all of this, like not just recently. Yeah, that's pretty shocking. So yeah, that to me makes me think that, it's just downside move, consolidation. Thinking about this, if we look at this on the weekly time frame, downside move, consolidation. This looks like a bear flag. So thank you, Scrubs, for mentioning that. This looks like a bear flag, and we can actually pull up. I should do this because I'm not the best at this. So bear flag, and I'm going to try to bear flag. I think it means something else. So I'll do bull flag. Bull flag Investopedia. Flag definition. Okay, so maybe this has some examples. Bullish, so we see up move, volume's kind of flat, and then it goes higher with surge in volume. And then bear pattern, bear flag, it's like, volume goes up and it stays up. I think, I don't know. It goes up, stays up. I don't know. I don't think these are the best examples. But this to me, down move, high volume with this not going anywhere, probably dropping lower is what I would think. Okay, so Parker tweeted me something about AMC. Oh, that I'm so lame. I just like, oh, Twitter. I'm gonna go to my phone. So I will go here. Thank you for tweeting this at me. And so let's see. Oh, these are patterns. So you do stuff similar to trading with emotions. So this, and we have this. And so, yeah, it's like this green candle is, let's see. Okay, so got this pattern here, which goes up. And then we've got the big move here, which is here. Consolidation with a drop. Then a big move up, which is this. And then pull back. And now we are getting ready for a God candle. Oh, KOSS. Cool. So, yeah, and then let's look at the other ones. This is, let's see. Okay, so this consolidation here. We see the big move here, consolidation. This goes up. And then here, got the bounce here. Move up, bull flag. With this spike here. And yeah, basically what we're seeing now is kind of like the spring, I guess. Would that be right? And then this going higher. So for me personally, if this ends up being true, I personally am not FOMOing in right now, even if it's low, even if it's going higher, because I already have a large position because I got to pay off that credit card. If this doesn't happen, then I'll be happy because then once that credit card's paid off, I can buy more. So, but yeah, I think that this looks super cool. And this reminds me a lot of trading with emotions. Analysis does very similar comparisons. Okay, so this is a comparison with GameStop. And see the big move here. This is a comparison with AMC from before. And this is a comparison with KOSS, as far as I understand. So very cool. So this is January 21st, price action of 2021. That was, I remember that day very well, texting a buddy in my little studio apartment in Vancouver, studio garden level apartment in Vancouver. And it was just like a very depressing time in life. And yeah, waking up early in the morning, texting each other and stuff. Identical but stretched out 6 months. And so, yep, cool. And so what I am going to do like that, and GME charts. I guess I could read this as I type it. Super cool analysis of AMC comparing with KOSS, AMC, and GameStop charts from the past. Are we gonna see a squeeze next week? Cool. And then I'll also note, if not, I'm happy to wait for buying the dip. Cool. And yes, and I should follow you as well. And you guys should follow him if you want some more analysis like that. So very cool. And so because I don't want this to go on too late because I am losing my voice, I will definitely go over Gary. I have not forgotten about you, Disclosures Crypto. And so I think that is Gary Crypto and then LEU, and then I will end this. So Gary Crypto, I'm going to pull up TradingView over here. And I will type in Gari. And I feel like really my analysis on Gari will kind of be, is this from Kraken? Is that the best place for it? I'm just going to do that one. Whoa. So, or did I go over Gari from Coinbase, or is it not on Coinbase? So this is fine. I'm just going to do this one. I would have expected there to be drawings on this because I know I've gone over it before. So yeah, I can't remember the last time you requested it. Is the price up or down from there? I feel like crypto's kind of, for me, it's like whatever crypto I'd be looking at, I would want to look at Bitcoin and just see what's going on with it. And this seems like, this seems like it could be a bull flag. But at the same time, like, it's been just consolidating for such a long time. Based on the cycle and all of that, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of upside around the end of the year into 2025. But yeah, there's been a lot of talk of like Ethereum being very weak looking and that it's likely going to be testing 2000. As far as this one goes, let's see, it's not like a rising 3 methods, but this is cool. Big green candle, consolidation, red here, 3, falling, rising 3 methods. With this big green candle, but it didn't get a close higher, so that would have been nice. But this does look like, a big green candle consolidation up here. Looks like a bull flag. And yeah, but I could do a retracement to see maybe we're bumping into some resistance soon. So maybe from this high down to the low over here. It looks like, it's having a tough time with the 382. That is around 0.95 cents. So if we can get a move above, really, what's the high over here? That's like about 0.94 cents. So 0.95 cents. I think those are important levels. We need to be seeing a close above, a daily close above. And that would be suggesting a potential breakout. Although this 382 does correspond with the consolidation over here. Seems like that would be some notable resistance. So it's possible we get a pullback to the 236. Maybe though, what I'm talking about, we've already seen that. And now we just need to see a close above these levels and then start to see a move higher. And so I think that we need to see a good amount of volume, like a big candle like this, that was up over 10%, 13.75% on the 4th. And so I want to see another candle like that getting a close above 0.95 cents. And then the next level to the upside would be the 50%, which is around 1 penny. And that also kind of corresponds with the lows over here. So I think that 1 penny is going to be a pretty tough psychological level. But once we get above that, I think it'd be looking really good. So yeah, I would look for this, because you want to look for like a confluence of levels, multiple levels lining up that tell you something. One of them is this 382 at 0.95 cents. The other is the wick high here that we need to see a close above to be suggesting that we are getting a breakout, and that's at 0.94 cents. So those are 2 levels. I would be looking for daily closes above, and then I would expect from that we bump into some resistance around 1 cent. More consolidation there, and then another move higher to like 1.1 cents, which is around the 50% retracement. So hopefully that was helpful. And yeah, so I've got that caught up on the comments, and so I will just wrap this up on Let's see, uranium stocks and LEU. Yeah, man, this is on the weekly time frame. Crap. You know, when was I talking about this? On the following this day. So if I would have bought at open after I had went over this, saying that it looks good, I'd be up 40% right now, about 50% to the highs. I, in all honesty, would have trimmed by then, or exited my position probably by then. I'm just trying to, if I can do 20% in a week, that's great. If I, and again, for me, usually not too large positions, but yeah, I mean, congrats on that. And so I'm just going to scroll up to see what Scrubs was saying about this. LEU just awarded sweet government contract if you didn't see the news. And so the news here, Centrus Energy Unit wins award from the Department of Energy. And so, yeah, I'll read this and then we can end with this article. And maybe this is tip rank, so I'm not going to be able to read it. Or maybe I can. Centrus Energy announced that its subsidiary, American Centrifuge Operating, has won an award from the U.S. Department of Energy to support deployment of technology and equipment to deconvert high-assay, low-enriched uranium from uranium hexafluoride to uranium oxide and or uranium metal forms, a key step in the nuclear fuel production process. ACO, which is American Centrifuge Operating, is one of 6 awardees being announced today for deconversion, with a minimum contract value of $2 million and a maximum value for all awardees of $800 million. The ultimate dollar amount associated with this award will depend upon what task orders ACO is subsequently issued and their value. So great news there. I'm glad that you've been following this, and I think that nuclear is a really good play fundamentally. Company-wise, I don't know, but this one seems like it's a great one. They just got a good deal, support with the government. And we can actually look at some of these other companies that I've talked about. NNE, which is Nano Nuclear Energy. They did not get an award, it looks like, because they would have gotten news. NXE, I believe some of these might be Canadian. Did not get an award here, but yeah, Canadian, it says right there. UEC, no award here. URA, this is one that I've traded in the past, but haven't. No award there. Yeah, so this is kind of like a standout one. And let's just see here, thinking about market caps. LEU, market cap just over $1 billion, $1.06 billion. NNE, half a billion. NXE, $3.9 billion. UEC, $2.83 billion. And URA is, where's their, because this is an ETF. Yeah, so, and let's just consider, what are the upside move potentials? And that would also mean that the downside move potentials. So kind of like, from the lows here, let's just do that for all of them, just to kind of have some fun. So LEU moved up 100%. NNE from here moved up 200%. Smallest market cap, $500 million. This one moved up from about there, 35%. Largest market cap, I believe. Second largest is here. And so that move is 75. So yeah, it makes sense that, the ones with the smaller market cap moved up the most. And but then the downside aspect of that is the downside moves could be much larger. So, yeah, good to consider that there has been a big upside move, 100%. Let's say I think something useful for this, while, I know nobody wants to hear it, is the possibility of a pullback. And I'm just curious, when did I draw that? I drew that a while ago. Not a while ago. I drew that weeks ago. I didn't just draw that now. Did I? No. I drew that a while ago. So, I just think that's cool because, yeah, both of these. No, I just drew this. I just measured that. But this one I hadn't just measured, and that's where we're at now. There's a measurement that I did thinking that this is an inverse head and shoulders, maybe. I'm trying to remember what I was talking about. And so that measured move. Yeah, so I think that we're seeing a top. I think that we've seen a top in LEU. I think that the news that you're talking about, let's see, Scrubs. I know RM, Scrubs. I think the news that you're talking about could be a sell the news event. It's up 2.5% in the after hours. But since this move's played out, I could see that the top being in with this. It's a kind of a bearish candle. Opening higher, closing lower. It's a bearish engulfing candle from the previous 2 days candles, even though it didn't encapsulate all of the trading from those days. But, open and high, same, and then it comes down almost 5%. It does bounce a little bit here, but I don't think that's too significant. I think the top's in at 69.50. But I think that, we could be pulling back to, I imagine, around 50. And that could be a nice level to consider buying the dip. 50% retracements around 51. Golden pockets, 46 to 47. So I would look for those levels. This is a little bit cluttered. But yeah, it played out. So congrats. I would at least trim if I was, bullish on this, wanted to be in it long term. I'd at least trim some to then buy back, at 55. That's a $10 discount from current price. So, yeah, but this is really cool. I'm proud of my analysis of this because it played out to the T over the course of a few weeks. Very cool. And so, Frank, I will go over NEO. 2 weeks ago. That's pretty insane. Sometimes, I feel like my track record is probably less than 50-50, but sometimes stuff plays out just beautifully. 2 weeks, beautiful move. Not from the bottom here, from here. And that was like a 50% move. So half of this move over the course of a couple of weeks. So just great. So Frank, I will go over NEO and then I will end on that because I have got to end this at some point. And so, with NEO, one thing that I did, which I sell covered calls. I exited the majority of my position, but I got a larger position that I felt comfortable with, so I could sell covered calls to then exit. I ended up exiting in profit at around $4.50 and $5. And then after that, I bought a put because I thought, hey, I exited, if that my thesis was I should exit, then really that was more of I wasn't feeling revengeful or vengeful, but that was really more of a revenge trade. And I shouldn't have done it because then looking at the charts, there's clear bull flag here. And then I bought a couple of shares and I think a call that I trimmed I exited for 20%. I'm not trying to diamond hand contracts because then I'll just lose everything on them. But yeah, I cut losses on the put because I thought that was stupid. I was kind of looking for, somebody pointed this out to me, that if I adjust the y-axis to be on the log scale and look at this on the weekly time frame, we have this very nice downtrend here going back to the highs from January 15th of 2021. So that week, the high for that week. And then these other pivot points, I guess the pivot high from the week ending on August 4th of 2023. See, these tops over here, that's a level of resistance that we might be getting to around $8. And so before this run up, I just got a couple shares around $6, hoping that it was pulled back and I'd add more. And then I have a limit sell for one at like 805, I think. Or yeah, I had some level drawn up there. And so I'm going to switch this back to, let's see, the linear scale and go to the daily time frame. And so I don't know what level I had. It's saying 805, some extension that I did. I'm not sure. But yeah, we didn't get there. We hit a high of $7.71. And what I think is happening is a healthy pullback and retracement. And so I could see this coming down to around 566. That's a 50% retracement. And that could be corresponding with this purple downtrend, a retest of that, which is based on these highs here. This is, let's see, the highs from February 16th, as well as the high from May 15th. And so from that, we get what looks like an inverse head and shoulders pattern, but then it just bled. Like, what the hell? It didn't play out. But what we can see from that is maybe it did play out. It just bled like crazy, forming a double bottom before it played out. And so we can take a measurement from here to that neckline. And then once it finally broke out, we have not played out that move. That would be going up to around $8 a share. And that would correspond with testing that downtrend I was just showing you on the weekly time scale, looking at the log y-axis. So I think that it's definitely going higher, but I think it needs to cool off following this massive run up. And so I think there are two ways we could draw this. One way is like this, with the 50% around 566. That's what I would put my money on it coming back to because of that purple downtrend, which is maybe not that significant, but it's like multiple levels right around there, 560. But what I could do is, because we had a move here, consolidation move there, I could do kind of like a micro retracement from the low here up to the high here. And I'm going to make this light blue so we can differentiate it a little bit. And let's see. And I'll make sure that's lined up with the highs and the lows. So 497. Yep. So maybe it's just coming down to 6 though. That's the reality of it. It might just be coming down to 6. It's a golden pocket. Doesn't have to pull back to the 786, which would be 560, right around there. Similar to, this level that I have here. So that's like 555, 556 is the 786. This 50% retracement, that's around 566. But I just see that not only like number of factors. One is this downtrend. Another is that with that downtrend, we have these level of resistance would then be acting as support, and it's not too steep of a slope. So that could definitely be like, kind of like padding it as it comes down. And then we got all this nice consolidation here. They're going to be dip buyers there because the last time they bought at these levels, it soared. And so for me, I don't know how super heavy I plan on going, but more than just a couple shares. But yeah, when it comes down to, I think my average is like 589. Yeah, I'm going to be buying back around there. 560 I'd like to see. And then so from there, I think it could consolidate, and I think it's going to be going higher. I think it's going to be a rinse and repeat type of thing. We just need to cool off. And a person who I think is good to follow regarding the Chinese stocks is Gareth Soloway, his channel Verified Investing. I don't like his channel Verified Investing that much because there's a lot of noise on it. There are other traders on it. He has his own channel, Gareth Soloway, and that's mainly his stuff. I'd follow his game plans because he was talking about Chinese stocks breaking out down here. And that's exactly what we got. And I should have put 2 and 2 together because he wasn't talking about NIO. And I should have laid off on my covered calls. But that's also me just having discipline of like, I don't want to just diamond hand stuff forever. I should have. But then I probably would have been waiting for 8. And then, I'd be like, oh, but I don't want to sell in this pullback. And it's like, I want to be in and out on stuff. And so for me, I'm out more or less on NIO, just a couple shares. I would be in, getting back in when it starts getting below my average, which is around $6 a share, and definitely around $5.60. I think it could be finding support there. So I think that looks really good for the next run up in the Chinese stocks. And so if, like Gareth is talking about other Chinese stocks, the Hang Seng, which I think is like the Chinese stock market, Alibaba, Baidu, other stocks, I think that they're going to be like moving very similarly. And I think that we'll be seeing pullback to around between $5.50 and $6. And then from there, let's see. So from this, I mean, this was this is like the first move, but let's see. We got, what kind of move was that? 110%. And so not talking about percentage, but just distance. If this pulls back to 560, where could this be going? Up to like 10, 950. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that reaccumulating around $6 down to 550, I think that'll be a really good potential. Let's see, what percentage move is that? 73% move to the upside. And what does that correspond with? Very cool. Let's see. Actually, I'm stupid. I was thinking, oh, that's like a head and shoulders pattern. But yeah, I mean, like, so over here, we got this just being approximate. That lines up over there, double top. And then we could maybe have, let's see, this be there we go. That's lined up pretty well. This could be a bigger inverse head and shoulders pattern. And from that, we could take it's a head and shoulders pattern within a head and shoulders pattern. If this is the head and shoulders pattern. So this, from the bottom of that head to the neckline, or, I could do it from here to that neckline, and then that's a little bit more conservative. Maybe I'll do that. Actually, I'll do both. I can do both. And so if this does pull back and then it breaks out here, maybe that's a move where it could be going. And then the other one here, a little bit more conservative because it's down sloping. This is like the other option. And so that could be going to $11 to $12 a share. And what corresponds with, those levels? Pretty cool, pretty cool. I just see this, the axis being all skewed. But we got this this low over here that lines up. So maybe there's something. Yeah, so I think it's in dip buy-in, getting close to dip buy-in territory. And, 6, this rounds to 6. So, yeah, I think it's in dip buy-in territory. So hopefully that's helpful. Okay, I need to close this. So I'm going to not look at the chat anymore. I am sorry. Take care, Scrubs. Sorry if you're leaving it. I didn't get to say goodbye. Have a nice night. But I will go over ChargePoint real quick, and then I'm going to close this down. Charge point, this is one that I do hold. I was feeling pretty good about it yesterday, but yeah, it got rejected. This is kind of like similar to the Luminar chart in that, moving up to these technical levels totally got rejected with that big wick up, bearish engulfing candle there. So charge point looks similar, not as bad, but similar. And so we have this trend line here. And so maybe we see a little bit of a pullback. And yeah, I mean, for me, I'm like, one thing that I'm proud of, I think I only bought 10 shares. I could have bought 100, but I was like, no, just only do 10. And if it goes lower, then get more. But we've been putting in higher lows. And so with that, this low over here, 121, low over here, 123, low over here, 128. And so I would look for a pullback to like 130. I mean, what was the low here? The low here, 130. Now look for a pullback to 130. And then maybe we'll be getting a breakout of this downtrend. And that could be sending us up to fill this gap at like 169 or higher. So yeah, I mean, this is just, it's like here we got rejected from that. Here we got rejected. Well, I guess we began to form that downtrend. But yeah, I mean, we got rejected from it here. Big gap down and stuff. But there wasn't like, from here, there wasn't much support. There weren't many levels. We've now established higher lows. And so now we do not want to see a low that's lower than 128 because that was the low over here on the second low of 128. And so we want to see that be held. If we do hit 128 or lower, then I feel like it's kind of like look out below. We could be coming back to test this uptrend. And that could still be, putting in a higher low. It's just that this one wasn't it. If we do put in a lower low. A lower low than that low. But yeah, 123, like if we see a pullback to 128, that's not so great, but then I'd look for 125 to hold because then we'd have 121, 123, and then the new low would be 125, and then maybe we start to see a breakout. But, we got rejected from this downtrend. What we need to see is a breakout, move above it, and then a confirmation, a close above the high of the breakout day, and then a pullback to retest, and then it can launch to 169 or $2, $2.50, whatever, the lines I have up here. So hopefully that's helpful. Oh, it looks like it's testing 150 is what you said in the chat. And so yesterday we hit a high of 149, yeah, and totally got rejected. Also that being a psychological level, $1.50, $1.02. And what's the max pain for today? I will pull this up and let's see, over here. And so I will actually, man, I didn't want to do it like this. So I'll just copy this, new tab, there we go. And so what I want to do is I believe screeners, no, I want to do Ticker Explorer Greeks. And so charge point is what I want to look up. What is the max pain for this week? $1. That's pretty crazy. What is it for the month though? For October, $1.50. So yeah, $1.50 is pretty important. If we're closing above, I think we could start to squeeze. 150, 50 cents. What the? So yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think it's looking pretty good. Yeah, no problem. You have a great night. And yeah, I'm going to wind this down. I'm going to get some sleep. And I hope you all are looking forward to the trading day tomorrow. And yeah, thank you so much for joining. And if you have not already, make sure you like the stream. And I assume you guys are all subscribers. But if not, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I do try to do these streams every Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern. But I have been kind of exhausted lately. I think really just with summer ending, I've got too much going on outside. It's kind of rough to be making videos and keeping up with everything. And also I've just been getting burnt out at work and whatnot. But yeah, have a great night's sleep and look forward to the market opening tomorrow. So take care, you guys. And thanks for stopping by. I do appreciate all of the comments, the requests. It's been fun. So take care, you guys.